What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to the Two Goat Show. We're your hosts, Miriah and Steph. Steph, happy Two Goat Thursday. How you doing? Good to see you.
I'm good. Good to see you. Good to be back for another Thursday show here. And we're approaching Thanksgiving, so I like the festivity of, this background we got going on.
Anytime's a time to eat, I'm down. So, I'm all for Thanksgiving.
Say less.
But yeah, chat, what's up? Happy Two Goat Thursday. Hope everybody's doing great. We actually got a win this week. So, we got to have a victory Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, victory Thursday, Steph. We're here. Hopefully we can get, can we get 2 wins in a row? Let's try it out this week. John V, Don, what's good? Appreciate you both. Real quick before we get started, just want to throw it out here. Next week, obviously, is Thanksgiving, so we won't be doing a show next Thursday. And then the following Thursday, my birthday is that Wednesday, so my wife and I and the dogs are leaving to go on vacation. So Steph and I will not be doing a show that Thursday either. So we'll be having a 2-week break from the Two Goat Show. Obviously, as always, tune into whatever Steph's doing in between now and then, as she usually has shows, a lot of shows throughout the week. So make sure you're tuned in there for everything 49ers up until then, and always. But yeah, what the hell? What y'all doing in here? You guys are up to something fishy. John V's here. Now Trey's here.
Can't be trusted.
Something fishy going on there. Nope, can't be trusted. What's up, Trey? Good to see you. Daniel Barry, what's good? Happy Thursday. Hope you're doing well. So I was telling Steph before we got started, normally those that have ever watched my shows know I have like 30 pages of notes when I sit down to do a show. But I just woke up today, like I was telling Steph, it's been raining all week. And as much as I love the rain, obviously the rain doesn't feel good on my body. So I just woke up today feeling blah and pain. I wrote a little bit of notes, but I'm just like I didn't want to cancel the show, obviously, because we're not doing a show for another 2 weeks. So I'm like, that wouldn't be great to have a 3-week break. So I'm like, we'll push through. So yeah, it might be a shorter show. We'll see how it goes. Obviously, as always, chat, if you guys have questions for Steph, not for me, because I'm not answering them. If you have questions for Steph, put them in the chat and we'll get to those as we go through. Steph got this dub. Actually, before we even get into that, we could talk about one play that happened in that game, and then I want to talk about, going on to Richard Sherman's show. Upton Stout in this game had a hell of a goal line turnover. Crucial play in that game. I think, he seems to be when I look at what people are saying about especially the rookie class, he seems to be one of the fan favorites from this rookie class so far. And prior in that game, he had given up a play, right? And George Kittle talked about that after he gave up that play, that he came to the sidelines or, sometime after or whatever, that he was don't worry about it. Next play, you have so many more plays in this game, right? Don't let that one play, be the defining play, right? So then he goes out there and makes that goal line turnover. He was on Richard Sherman's show this week and kind of talked about, how he would give 50-50 credit to Diamador Lenore and Fred Warner, to who he's looked up to how to prepare his body, how to get ready for games, all that kind of stuff. And I thought it was pretty cool because Sherman even, and I really wish the 49ers would somehow get Sherman in the building, have him be some kind of some kind of coach, mentor, freaking somebody that comes in and talks to the team, something, right? Because just in that little podcast, I forget even how long it was, let's say 40 minutes, he had so much insight to give this young kid. And somebody okay, if they're lined up in this, they're going to either do this or this, just different tells to look for, and just so much insightful figure how much ball that guy has seen, right? Like, and we know he played at the best of the best, not being the most fast, athletic guy, but being the smartest guy out there, right? Like,
Yeah.
that could be valuable to these young guys, right? Like I don't know if like he just hasn't wanted to go into coaching, or if he hasn't got the like opportunity, but like you would think, like, you know, just being who he is, that he would have got like at least some call to be something like entry level coach, whatever. Make up a freaking position. I don't care, but get him in there. Um, but talk to me about what you have in Stout, Steph.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that interview was really cool, and just, Sherman kind of just breaking down the game to Stout a little bit and putting it in layman's terms, really, like, just very easy to understand and digest what he was saying. And that is what makes a great coach, right? Like, just someone who's able to simplify the game for you, makes it so you could think less. Like, even just in that short clip, right, of him just talking about that, it's like, huh, like, that makes a lot of sense, actually. Like,
Mm-hmm.
why didn't I ever see it that way, kind of thing. And you could tell, like, that's the same thoughts like Stout was having as well. I will say this though, I mean, like, television contracts, he's on the Thursday Night Football group, and you get a pretty penny for
Mm-hmm.
being part of those, and having that contract. And I don't think, you might see a John Lynch go from TV to a general manager, because maybe the price of that is
Mm-hmm.
worth it. The money there is better. But I'm not sure you could say that, what he'd make as an assistant coach or as a consultant would ever be more than, what he's making now, as um with his spot at Thursday Night Football. And also, like, you can't do both, right? It's a conflict of interest. He wouldn't even be able to do his podcast, like, and I think he really does enjoy doing both of those things. So I almost feel like it would have to be like a passion project for him to take on
Yeah.
coaching. But it's like, it's such a shame too, because it really does feel like he just has such a wealth of knowledge that almost feels like it's going to waste if he's not bestowing it on
Mm-hmm.
other players, right? So, um, yeah, that's tough. I don't know if someday he will, but yeah, for now, I enjoy listening to it, even in
Mm-hmm.
podcast form. And just that he could talk to these young guys like Stout and just have that conversation for him, like that, I'm sure went a long way for Stout. So at least he got to have that.
Yeah, and it's crazy that just in those few minutes, like, you talk about like a wealth of knowledge, just like, pretty much going to waste, because just in those few minutes, obviously he taught Stout something that up until this point, nobody else has told him.
Yeah, clearly,
You
like,
know, like it seemed like something like that you would think would be like more talked about, like,
right,
and yet he was never told that, or it never stuck with him, or whatever the case may be. Let's see, maybe that hopefully it sticks with him now. But yeah, like just that little time, like just the wealth of knowledge that he has. And I'm glad too, because like it got up to the point where he was just asking Stout question after question after question, right? And then he turned it over and was like, "Well, I don't want it to just be like me asking you questions. Like, if you have questions for me, like please ask." Like, and I'm glad that he gives them that opportunity, because like then it opened up the floor to him to be able to pick his brain, because when will he get that opportunity again? Like, you
right,
don't know.
yeah.
Now Silu too, like what the hell is going on? What's up, Silu? Good to see you. Um, who else? Bebop, what's up? David McNew, McNiner, my guy, what's up? Hope you guys are doing well. But yeah, love to see that. Hopefully one day we get to see him in the building. Hopefully it ain't in Seattle's building. Like please, if you're gonna
Yeah.
become a coach anywhere, like those fans don't even like they don't deserve you. They're not nice to you. So like just you don't need to help them out, all right? Um, talk about this game, Steph. Obviously, the dub. Now, we went in. We've been talking about we need this offense to step up and carry this depleted young defense, right? Like normally the defense is the one carrying. Like We need the offense to actually do something this year. And you know, like they've been trucking along, but they haven't had like a dominant performance to where it's like, okay, that's what we need to see
Mm-hmm.
right there.
Yeah.
Like we need that going forward. And I don't know if we necessarily seen that dominant performance, but a lot better, a lot closer to that performance that we're looking for, right? Now, did we see that because we got our guys back? Brock was in there, obviously Kittle, a few games back. Um, Ricky P, you know, he only got like I think one catch or so, but like he was open a lot. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
it ain't because he ain't getting separation. Like he's breaking ankles out there. So hopefully, you know, his big game's coming. CMC continues to just be like holy shit. Um, but is it because they're all back and they're all rolling stuff, or is it because we faced like a beat up shit bottom of the level Arizona team? Like, is this offense for real? Can we count on them, or is this just fool's gold? Steph, talk to me.
I think it's probably a combination of the two, and I think as the following weeks come along, we'll get a better sense of, what this team at or this offense at full health, really is capable of. But I think we can say with some certainty that if they're going against a bad defense like that of the Cardinals, they should be able to score over 30 pretty easily, right? I don't know if I'd expect that against the Browns, in a couple weeks. Maybe this game against the Panthers has opportunity to be, on the higher end of scoring as well. But I think this offense at full health does give them a higher ceiling than we've seen all season. I mean, we hadn't seen it all season. They were averaging 22 points per game this season before Sunday. Like now in their first game at full health, they score 41. I mean, I don't think that's just a coincidence or that's just from facing the Cardinals. I think it feels like everything was kind of put together in such a way that this was a good soft landing spot for Brock Purdy to come back and, make his return where he didn't necessarily have to do too much, and he was just able to play a little bit more freely and not have to worry about, playing from behind. I gotta, be the man and get us back up, kind of thing. So, yeah, I think it was game script wise, it was ideal. And you're not always going to have that, but hopefully just the feeling of getting his feet back under him and this offense feeling like it's getting his feet back under him just from looking like themselves and playing the offense like it's supposed to be played. Like you hope that could bring the momentum to following games.
Yeah. As well as this looked, of course, you know, we couldn't make it through the game without injury stuff. I just don't it's just crazy to this point. Like you just have like every week I just go into the game now expecting that we're gonna have at least a handful of guys that are gonna be out of the game and probably not playing the following week. Like it's just very, very bizarre. But now our saint and savior, Eddie P, Steph, got hurt. Um, like this is not somebody that we needed to get hurt right now, Steph. So they did a whole long list of freaking tryouts, all these guys. Somehow decided on Matt Gay, who had just got unemployed by the Washington Commanders like just this week, because he missed a couple kicks for them. And who replaced him? No other than Jake Moody. So very weird that we're now getting, you know, the guy that lost his job to Jake Moody. Um, Steph, I don't know how confident I'm feeling about this Matt Gay. Like, was this the best one they could have chosen from the list? How are we feeling about this?
Yeah, I'm not in love with it either. I mean, we should all have concerns just of the fact that he's this season he's missed a number of kicks. I follow a few Commanders content creators. One of them said like we've literally lost games because of Matt Gay, and I'm like, oh god, like I know what that feeling is like. I'm not ready to return to that.
Yeah.
And it just did feel a little silly to go to a kicker that has had struggles, this season, just because it's literally not long ago where, this team released Jake Moody for that same reason. And the thing is, like, I think if maybe Matt Gay had been released, but had maybe multiple weeks to, clear his head or whatever, just like really get into a fresh start, then maybe you'd feel different about it. Because at one point in time, like, Eddie Pinheiro struggled too. And it's like he was free agent for some time, and then he comes back and he's like ready to go, right? So like it could happen, but just the fact that Matt Gay literally just got released. Like,
Yeah.
is his mind still in that headspace of, being prone to missing kicks? I don't know, but I feel like it's kind of too soon to expect that, he won't be that same guy that they had for the Commanders. So I'm just hoping this Eddie P injury doesn't keep him out too long. But I do know, he might miss at least a couple of weeks.
Yeah, like, and then Matt Gay even talks about, like, they posted a clip of him talking about how he, after, that missing the kicks, whatever, he flies back with the team to Washington, right? Gets fired, then flies to Utah, then now flies to freaking, Santa Clara to play for the 49ers, like, all within a week. Like, you're flying from another country to here, to here, to here. You just got fired. Now, like you talked about, like, give him some freaking time to sleep, to think, to get his head right, to have some few practices, something. Like, no, we just literally took the guy right off the unemployment line and said, come be our hero. Like,
yeah.
I'm just not thrilled about it. Like, even Silu, like, he's lost games for the Colts. Like, how many teams has a guy played for? I'm sure every single one of their fans could come here and be like, yeah, he lost games for us too. And the 49ers are like, yeah, sign us up. Like, let us be next. Like, I just don't. I finally thought, like, the answers of us having a bum fucking kicker were answered, and the injury freaking strikes again. And now, oh my God, like, are we in a worse situation than we were in with Jake Moody? Like, I really hope not. But I don't know. Like, that's the part that scares me the most, is that Jake Moody took this guy's job. Like, they thought Jake Moody was better than him. Guys, people that are on the Commanders that have worked on the 49ers with Jake Moody, seen everything that he went through, said, I'd rather take him than Matt Gay.
Yeah. I mean, they were done with him.
Yeah, Bebop. Hopefully we don't have to rely on him to kick any field goals. Just, can you make a few extra points for us? Hopefully, like 6 a game. It will be good.
Hopefully it's that easy.
So not just that injury, obviously, like, linebackers, we're at the bottom of the barrel thin as it gets, Steph. Like, just losing linebacker after linebacker after linebacker. Now Fred Warner's replacement, Bethune, is out. He hasn't practiced. Kyle said Curtis Robinson will be starting in place for him. So Curtis Robinson now gets the green dot. Now, I don't hate this, Steph. Like, I'm a Curtis Robinson fan. I loved him prior to him getting hurt last season. I thought he was playing great, the best football that we had seen him play. And then he got, that injury and wiped his season out. Now, if we can get that Curtis Robinson to show up, I'm good. But if he has any drop off, if that injury did anything to him, if he has any rust, like, we're already so thin there, Steph. Like, I'm nervous. And let me just throw in these other ones, and then you can just talk about them all. Robert Beal, he's out he's out in the concussion protocol. So does he clear by Monday? Who knows? Luke Gifford's limited, and the good news is Brock full go. So obviously he responded. His toe responded well to everything they put him through last week, game and all. So that's the great news from it all. But talk to me about these other injuries, Steph.
Yeah, I mean, I think I feel of all the injuries, Eddie P one is the most impactful, right? So I'm not too worried about going from Tatum Bethune to Curtis Robinson. I don't think the drop off, if there's any at all, is going to be really noticeable. I think we're just weary of the fact that any more injuries to that linebacker group is gonna get sketchy fast, right?
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully Curtis Robinson could stay healthy through this game and through this time that Tatum Bethune is going to be out, which we know is going to be for a few weeks as well. And then Robert Beal, the fact that the game is on Monday certainly does give you extra time. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's
Yeah.
the one benefit to the game being not just Monday, but Monday night. So he has time. I guess we should remain hopeful because I thought he put some good things on tape, for last week's game when he was out there. And I've been tough on him, in the past. I'm not sure what maybe that just tells you just how bad the 49ers pass rush has been so far, where I'm like, hey, Robert Beal actually showed us we might need
Like, he
him.
had a pulse. I like him.
Yeah, we might need him. Um but no, he did have that good play where he helped set the edge really well. And I think he could contribute. So hopefully he is out there on Sunday, or sorry, Monday night. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I think the biggest one is Eddie P, because that injury directly correlates to points, and
Mm-hmm.
or that position does. And yeah, uh the other two I'm not as worried about in this one.
Yeah, and then the linebackers did sign Stone Blanton,
Oh yeah. Yep.
linebacker to the practice squad, right? So, like, we have him there as some insurance. I believe he did spend some time with the 49ers throughout
Yes.
the
Training camp.
like off training camp. Yeah,
Yep.
okay. So there's some, familiarness there. Hopefully we don't have to get to that point, but with this team, hey, you like who knows? Like Steph could be playing linebacker next week. We never really know what's going to happen. um, Before we move on from this, game and all this stuff, talk. Let's to go back to this Brock versus Mac thing real quick, Steph. Now, after Brock's game, now you already knew Brock could have went out there and thrown 35 interceptions, 0 touchdowns, or he could have went out there and threw 35 touchdowns and looked like the freaking MVP of the world, and there would have still been people hating on him regardless, right? Like still people that are saying Mac's better and that should be Mac's job. We know that. Like you just have to come to expect that. Like I seen so many people like just fighting with like that part of people
Yeah.
on social media this week, and it's just like I don't like stop getting so
What are we
upset with it, you
doing?
guys. Like like just week after week, what they're gonna be doing. Like they're just negative. They don't care. Like that's their thing. Like the
Yeah.
sooner that you guys realize that that's their thing, like that's they do that to make money. Like that's what they do. Like the more they piss you guys off, the more you guys fight with them, the more you cook on their shit, the more all of that, and it just puts money into their pockets. That's what they're trying to do. Like they have there's no other rhyme or reason for the shit that they do. Um, so like people are just like, oh my god, like fighting to the death of them, and it's just like, please stop fighting with these people. Like you're just giving them what they fucking want. Just let them be in their own corner of the world by themselves. But like for us normal people, talk to me, Steph. Now, we've talked so much about and Mac himself, I'm here to be the backup, right?
Hmm.
I think people seem like you just talked about we averaged 20 points, whatever it was, up until this game when Brock returns.
Yeah. 22. Yep.
Now, remember the last however long we've been doing the show, how many shows have we sat here and talked about and did our score predictions and predicted over 30 points? Because we knew when Brock plays, the offense scores over 30 points. Game after game after game after game for the last 2 seasons, Steph. So was it a coincidence? Was it because we played a shitty Arizona team? Maybe. Maybe. Time will tell. But I'm more so going to bet on the fact that our offense, with led by Brock Purdy, is going to be a gunslinger, somewhat going to stretch the fucking field. He's not just dinking and dunking like someone to pretend, because that's what we've seen from Mac Jones, just dinking and dunking, if you want to be honest. Um, and we're going to put up points. Like, look at how much CMC and Kittle got in there and raved about having freaking Brock back.
Yeah, I mean that says a lot. That
Like,
says a lot.
and they were supportive of Mac, yet
Mm-hmm.
they raved about and talked about his smartness and this and that and so much about him. Like, if they weren't missing that, they wouldn't have talked about it. Like, they would just say, yeah, he had a good game, yada yada. But they went above and beyond just the natural bullshit that they go in there and talk about. And like, we've seen it with our own eyes. Like, you can't, so talk to me. How are you feeling now that we actually got to see Brock back? And it's not
Healthy,
just yeah, not just like
healthy.
forgetting what he actually looks like and going with the national narrative and all this bullshit. Um, what did talk to me about this quarterback situation, and what did you specifically see from Brock Purdy?
Yeah, I mean, I thought I honestly appreciated what Mac Jones was doing. I think we all did, and I think he looked good enough for it to spark conversation. But at the same time, like for people to use the word controversy, I get it. Like that's the word people use, but to call it that just insinuates that you feel that Mac Jones should start over Brock Purdy. And the only reason I would have said that is if Brock Purdy just wasn't 100% healthy or just wasn't himself, and I think what we saw on Sunday, he looked healthy. Like it was not like the week 4 version that we saw of him where
Oh
he was
no.
floating passes and just did not look like, the guy that we were accustomed to seeing. And I'll say this on Mac too. He's risk adverse. So he doesn't take big risks, as you mentioned, like, sort of a dink and dunk offense. And there's kind of a reason for that. I mean, we know he's not a big scramble guy, and so his game is getting the ball out quickly, and usually that's going to be on shorter passes. There were also times where he did have time to find an open man, and you see a guy open up downfield for Mac to throw to, and he elects to take the shorter, easier throw. Like we saw that a couple times. So I think the Mac Jones offense, while it was, it was good, it got the job done a couple of times, like, or a number of times. I think we saw that it does have a ceiling to it, right? And that's okay. Yeah, like I said, it did what it needed to do. It still had some success. And then I think after seeing Brock Purdy on Sunday, it just gives you a little extra. It raises the ceiling just a bit more. I think it reminded us of why when we went from Jimmy Garoppolo to Mac Jones, it was to Brock Purdy, it was a noticeable difference
Mhm.
because both operated the offense well in their own way, but Brock Purdy did it. He just offered a little bit extra. The ability to scramble, to extend plays, the aggressiveness. I mean, he's aggressive.
Yeah.
And I think we have to I acknowledge it all the time that Brock Purdy being aggressive also leads to, height and risk, which leads to near turnovers.
Yep.
Sometimes it does lead to turnovers. But you kind of have to live with that because, I mean, it's the price you pay for having other plays that are way more aggressive, that are
Mhm.
successful. Like, so yes, I do think Brock Purdy does, stretch the field a little bit more than Mac Jones was. Like that's not even really debatable. Unfortunately, like we didn't see Mac Jones with a fully healthy offense, but I have to expect like it wouldn't have been that much different than we'd seen the previous week, or like, the before Brock Purdy came back, because
Mhm.
he did have Kittle. The only guy he didn't,
And he had CMC.
and he had CMC. The only guy he didn't have was Ricky Pearsall. And the 49ers barely used Ricky Pearsall on Sunday, although he did open things up for other
Yeah.
guys. So I do have to
Mm-hmm.
consider that. But yeah, I think Brock Purdy just gives you a little extra. And I'll address this comment
Yep.
here from Delvin. Thank you for the super chat. It says, with our record and injuries, we are the Cinderella team of the year, and our head coach should be the coach of the year. Still, ESPN Stephen A, no credit. I agree that that Kyle Shanahan absolutely needs to be in the coach of the year discussion. I mean, your team is what, 7-4, and you've done it with like dragging your defense basically since Bosa and Fred Warner have gotten hurt, and even much of the first half of the season you didn't have your offense fully healthy, including your
Mm-hmm.
starting quarterback. Like, come
Exactly.
on, come the fuck on. Like, he needs to be not just in the conversation, he needs to be a front runner right now for coach of the year. And the fact that he's not is just so ridiculous and disrespectful. I know other names should be in the conversation too, but just they're not mentioning Kyle Shanahan enough for my liking for what he's been doing. And man, we got to give credit to him. I don't know if the 49ers are a Cinderella team. I guess we'll see what they can make out of having a healthy offense, even though the defense is questionable. But we've seen teams with really bad defenses have
Mm-hmm.
some success in the playoffs. They might not end up winning the Super Bowl. It'll catch up to them eventually. But, if you have a really good offense, you can make it work. So we'll see how the 49ers make it work for, the rest of this season. We know that the next 3 games are absolutely winnable. And I think what it comes down to with this offense, I heard, Matt Mayoko say it, and I've been echoing it since. 49ers need to win the games they're expected to. Point blank period. Like, and
Mm-hmm.
they
Yeah.
won against the Cardinals. Congratulations. That was a game that you needed to win because you were expected to. This game on Monday, well, yes, I think it's going to be, it's a little more interesting because they also have a pretty good record. They had a really good performance last week against the Falcons. I still think the 49ers are expected to win this game, and they should win this game. Same goes for that Browns game. I'm not saying it's going to be easy because that Browns defense is something serious. Kyle
Mm-hmm.
Shanahan struggles against Jim Schwartz defenses. And then also the 49ers haven't won in Cleveland in like 30 some years, which is
Yeah, this shit's
insane.
crazy.
That's insane. That is insane. But I still think the 49ers should win that game. And don't get me started about the Titans after bye week. So if you win these games that you should win, you are looking at 10 plus wins for the season. You are looking
Mm-hmm.
at having your shot, and a really good one, at making the playoffs. I think if the 49ers do that, Kyle Shanahan's going to be shoe-in, or should be, for coach of the year.
Yeah, I don't know what it is with Kyle and the coach of the year, like disrespect just year after year after year. Like Kyle
Yeah.
came in and took such a shit fucking team and like turned this fucking franchise around and has not got credit for it from day one. Not one single fucking year. Like and yeah, we can talk about this year. Like you're doing all this with half a team, no starting quarterback, and everybody wants to talk about, oh well, Mac, Mac this, Mac that. Nobody thought that at the beginning of the season. You guys all thought he was a piece of shit. Nobody fucking wanted him. And now all of a sudden he's great, so Kyle shouldn't get credit. Kyle did that. Why do you think
Yeah,
he's fucking
yeah.
great? Like
That's the thing. Like, he gets disrespected or like just discredited because everyone knows that he's so good. How does that make sense? Like, you should
stupid.
be getting the accolades because you're good. Yeah, it's ass backwards for sure.
Yeah, this shit's just annoying as fuck. Like we could go on and on and on about that, but yeah. Thank you, Devin, for the donation. Appreciate you. It's just crazy, crazy disrespect. Like Alberto says, what's Alberto says? They'll never give credit to any Niner unless you're CMC. Like so many of our team just gets like so much disrespect. Like they never want to give Kittle like the best tight end fucking thing. It's always Kelsey. Even this year, they're still talking about Kelsey. Last year they were talking about Kelsey. The guy has been washed. He's not doing shit. Like he's fucking ass. His quarterback don't even like him anymore. Like and yet you guys are still riding his freaking balls. Like, I don't understand. It's like, give the guys credit that fucking deserve it, not just because they're the big name or they're the ones freaking bringing in revenue to the fucking NFL. Like, it's just freaking bullshit at the end of the day. Like, all those awards are just bullshit. Still, like, with the whole MVP thing, always going to quarterbacks. Like, it's just fucking bullshit. All those awards. Like, I'm over them. Over it, Steph. Let's talk about Monday night. Panthers coming. Obviously talking about CMC playing his old team. I hope he goes off for like 250 yards, freaking 5 touchdowns. Fuck them. Like, that's all I've heard all week is about how great the Panthers are all of a sudden. Like, again, you guys were talking shit about them last week and how dog shit they were the last fucking weeks before that. Now all of a sudden they're the best. Like, give me a freaking break. Like, I hope that they come in and the 49ers just freaking destroy them. Like, oh my god. Like, if we had any type of a D line, like another midget quarterback coming in, like, come on. Like, we are not scared of these midget quarterbacks. But the fact we don't have a D line, we only got half of a D line right now. So that's the only thing I'm worried about. But honestly, like, had the Panthers not just did like that comeback win last week and their quarterback throw for all these yards, like, would we like be scared of them at all? Like, would they be getting any of the hype coming into this week that they're getting right now? No. Like, this is literally off of 1 week freaking performance. Everybody's talking them up. So like, I'm not worried about it. Like, obviously, like, you got to give credit. Like, their running back is playing crazy good right now. Like, somebody that was disrespected through the offseason. Cowboys didn't want his ass. He goes in there and, like, has just played, like, balled the fuck out. Their wide receiver, Tet, like, I loved him coming out of college. Like, he's a fucking baller. Like, he's a true baller, having a great season. But other than that, like, I am not worried about them whatsoever. Maybe Steph, let me know. You might be a little more worried, but they're still the same old shitty ass Panthers to me.
I mean, I don't think you can overlook them. I think, especially with how depleted the 49ers defense is, I think they're capable of getting over on the 49ers defense and scoring points. I think Tedero McMillan had maybe he had a career game, on Sunday, and is going to try to look to, stack another performance like that against this 49ers defense, the secondary that struggles, against top wide receivers in the league, right? I understand that the Panthers give up a lot of pressure, but or they give up some pressure. I think what it is that their defense is worse at creating pressure than the 49ers. That should help. I mean, it like a lot of these games, it's going to come down to like which offense is going to have the ball last kind of thing. Just because, like, I feel like neither of the defenses might be able to stop. I do think the 49ers defense is capable of stopping the Panthers on a few drives, and that very well could be the game, right? Just who can stop the other team a little more often, who can create turnovers. Like, I think last week the 49ers were able to do that. Can they do it again? Can they play mistake-free football on offense and not turn the ball over? It'll come down to all these things. But yeah, I'm not overlooking them. I think they're capable of beating the Niners if the Niners aren't careful, but I think just being at home and, Monday night, I think 49ers will be ready. I think the offense is in a good place to be more competitive than we'd seen in prior weeks now that they're at full health. So I think the 49ers should be able to win this one.
All right. Chat. It's that time. Give us your score predictions. Steph, I already got mine this week, so I'll go first. Because I don't want, like, these copycats in here, I'm going to go 38-21 49ers. Over 30, Brock Purdy. Over 30. All right?
Okay. So Carolina has averaged 18.8 points per game this season. And even in their last three, they've been a little better than the last three, but as far as just standing in the league, but still 17.7 points per game in their last three. I also saw someone mention, I don't know if I retweeted it, but they have like a point differential of like negative some absurd number, and like
What
they're
the?
still 6-5. So they give up a lot of points. I think the 49ers go over 30 points again in this one. And I'm going to go 35 to 23. And I think it'll be like a, garbage time,
I like it. I
score at
like
the
it.
end from them.
Another week that we're very close in our predictions. Delvin, appreciate you again. Says, but it never matters how bad the shitty ass Cowboys are to ESPN. Of course not, because they jock ride them. Like, I swear, Jerry must give it to those motherfuckers so good every night because they're just damn shame. Damn shame, Steph. I have been, cutting the Cowboys a little slack this week because of everything they're going through, but after that, it's still just, fuck the Cowboys. You have any response to that, Steph?
Um, I mean, yeah, the Cowboys are still, bad. I don't think they're as bad as their record would indicate, but they're not going to make much noise this season. If anything, they maybe could place spoilers to a team towards the end of the season, and hopefully it's one of those NFC East teams. I hope they beat the Eagles this week, for example. But yeah, I mean, you know how we feel about Cowboys over here.
Yep. Boo. All right, we got 49ers 30 plus. See how that plus is in there. I like that. 30 plus. Panthers 25. Don says 37-25. Niners win. What's up, Rick? Hope you're doing well. Um, he says he can't wait for Monday Night Football. That's too. Like, we know our guys when it's time, especially like Kittle and them, like they come alive when their lights are bright. They're the only game on. We know they like to be out there showing off, so we need them to. John V says 30 plus. It's because Purdy 30. I'm
Should
telling
be,
you,
should be.
there should be no reason, but we got a healthy Purdy in there, and this our actual weapons are in there that we're not putting up over 30 points. I'm expecting to see a lot more Ricky P usage this week. He got a game in. And like I said, he looked good through the routes that he did run, like didn't look like he was being slowed by any injury. So hopefully we can get the ball to him a few more times this week. And yeah. What else you got going on, Steph?
Um, Tomorrow gonna be doing my preview show with KP and Desi. Um, Actually, yeah, I guess we'll see what the injuries are to talk about in this game. If maybe Robert Beal, but I think the other ones we kind of know they'll be out. So maybe not much to talk about on the injury front for that game. But yeah, we'll break down all the key matchups and which ones are favorable to the Niners, which one we got to be cautious of. So make sure you guys check that out. Steph49K, my YouTube channel.
There you have it. If you're not already subscribed, the link's right there in the description of the video. You just got to click it, hit the subscribe button. Like I said, if you weren't here at the beginning of the show to hear, Steph and I will be taking 2 weeks off. We'll be back after that, after the bye. And between now and then, please make sure you're tuned in with Steph, whatever she got going on. Make sure you're over there liking all her videos, be in the chat. You know how we do. Chat, we appreciate you guys as always. You guys are awesome. Everybody that came through that I haven't seen in a while, appreciate you guys. Much love. I hope you guys have a safe, wonderful next couple weeks. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. Enjoy your families. and all that good stuff. Be thankful, not just on Thanksgiving. Be thankful every damn day, faithful. Okay. I'm thankful for y'all, Steph. I'm thankful for you. I appreciate you as always. And yeah, we're out of here. Till next time. Peace.
Peace.